his silence and speak out against what President Mr. Beast and Vice President Patrick Bet-David are doing. The last person to drown wins a Lamborghini competition is wrong. We need to go back to a time when respectful presidents like Donald Trump didn't do stuff like this. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me focus in on this. What is this? Let me be mindful of what this is right here. Oh, people have been posting this all over the Reddit. The R.M. Brown subreddit. Go check it out. Right toilet on there, probably. Okay, this is another Trump thing.
It's weird.
What's he doing? All right, let's check it out.
So, I had to go.
Okay, all right. He's doing a little bit of this.
Bye-bye.
All right, what do we got here? What is this? Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Epstein tapes. Yikes. Okay, what do they say? Here we go.
So how do you know this?
That was close to straight.
Okay.
So I need the dump.
It's weird.
Okay.
It's weird. It's weird. It's weird.
Who is this from? This is some guy named Michael Wolf. He's a reporter, and he's got all these recordings of Epstein from 2016. I guess the first question is, why didn't you release these sooner? It's a little weird. That's a little...
It's weird.
Weird.
This guy, Michael Wolf's like, what, people are interested in this guy? He's like a finance guy or something. What, there's other stuff? But I saw a lot of headlines about this part where he says that Donald Trump was his best friend for 10 years. You know, I don't know. I don't know from politics, but seems like not the best endorsement, you know, but what do I know? But what seems like is getting kind of buried in the headlines from this recording, only 16,000 people watch this? What seems to be buried in the headlines on this one is like the rest of the video, he's like, we were best friends, but then the rest of the video, he's basically saying that Trump would like entrap people on the phone. Like Trump would be with a guy and he would be like, hey, you want to cheat on your wife? And the guy would be like, yeah, sounds cool. And they would be like, your wife's on the speakerphone. Which, you know, who knows? I'm not sure how to verify this unless somebody testified or something. But either way, it's weird that this guy's like, you know, like rich, powerful people, they can trap people, they can get dirt on them to use. It's kind of, that's interesting. Also, this is kind of
weird
right here. Yeah, what the hell is that? Maybe it was a secret mic or something. It doesn't seem like it. What the hell's going on with this? Okay, here we go. Here's another election-related weird video. Oh, it's RFK. Great. Let's check out what the hell his ass has to say. 200,000 views. Okay, not bad. That's not important.
He said he wanted to end the forever wars and bring that $200 billion that we've sent to the Ukraine home to rebuild America.
Okay.
He told me that he wanted to end the censorship and end the surveillance and the propaganda.
Okay. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Oh, man. This is a tough one right here. This video just kind of popped up for me, and I 2x'd through it. And when I came to this part, I was like, this guy's, like, especially insane. I don't know how this guy does this, you know? He's doing this kind of, like, anti-establishment, anti-war, anti-propaganda, anti-censorship thing. So this is, like, all over mainstream news now. This is PBS. Basically the same day he gave that speech. Today, leaders of 15 UN and humanitarian organizations, including Oxfam, the High Commissioner of Refugees, the American head of UNICEF, and the World Food Program and the World Health Organization said, quote, the situation unfolding in North Gaza is apocalyptic. Honestly, these articles are hard to read. Yeah, this seems especially bad, and I don't know how this guy does this, where he's like, look, all this stuff, forever wars, propaganda, and censorship, he's like on the exact wrong side of all that stuff. If you watch the interviews this guy's been doing for the past year more, he's like on the wrong side of all that stuff. And you can even look just in mainstream news and see that.
And that he wanted to end this corrupt merger of state and corporate power that has turned our regulatory agencies predatory against the American public.
Clapping for that.
And he said that he wanted to make America healthy again.
I mean, you know, both of these political parties lie about this stuff. But his just seems bigger and more blatant, you know? He's like doing this speech, 250,000 people watch this, and he's like, we're gonna do more regulation. We're gonna root out corruption, you know, to help people. We're gonna help normal people by doing that. And at the same time, there's like 1 million videos where it's like Elon Musk is gonna get in there and deregulate everything. Then he goes into this long thing about how people are so unhealthy nowadays and our food's so unhealthy, you know? And he's like, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix that. No details. You know, that would be like a huge, like, you're gonna fix that? That'd be like a huge, I don't know, regulatory thing. You know, no details, but I imagine this is what it's gonna be. RFK is gonna fix all this unhealthy crap that's going on. I think it's gonna be a course. It's like a $60 recurring payment course you can take of RFK working out. You could watch him work out, get inspired. I think that's probably what it's gonna be. I mean, based on like basically everything else we've been hearing besides this speech, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the solution. $60, you can watch me get all sweaty. Watch me go like this. Here's me lifting weights. Ooh, okay, well, there we go. There is some good news, though. I'm gonna be at the majority... What the hell is this goddamn thing called? The Majority Report. That's this one.
Toilet. Wipe your ass with them.
Whoa, maybe I shouldn't go. Election stream. I think they're streaming it on their channel. I don't know. I could be lying about that. But tune in Tuesday if you dare. There's only one thing I could say about that stream.
It's demented?
Well, anyway, guys.
YouTube is suppressing our show.
Okay, it's not the best day, but hey, it's fine. It's fine. Hey, it's fine. We're still doing it. Love you guys so much. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, it's me, YouTube. If you want more videos, I mean, you're scratching the surface, you know? Check out this, what the hell am I trying to say? Oh, go to Patreon. Subscribe on Patreon for as little as $2 measly per month. You get every video. You're missing videos every week. That's, ugh, yuck. Just click in the description. It's, oh my God, could it be any easier? But the videos you're missing, oh my God, they're amazing. This guy's like, what's the guy who does his show? Whatever his name is. He's like giving away garbage bags of money to make people do humiliating things. That's hilarious. Anyway, guys, I gotta get the hell out of here. I'll hit you guys up later. Bye-bye.
Domination. Secure the objective.
I've got this.
Taking A. Lock down A. We're winning. Keep it that way. Lock B. Securing target. Falling behind Crimson. Losing A. Taking B. Securing B. Secure. Losing B. Losing Alpha.
If you live in the United States and you've been online anytime recently, you've probably been seeing copious amounts of political advertisements for Donald Trump and cackling Kamala. However, if you're an astute observer like myself, you might notice that a third-party candidate is not getting any recognition, even though he deserves it. That person would be Daniel Larson. And we're going to discuss today how Daniel Larson went from somebody like this.
That's 14-year-old Danny, who came from an extremely neglectful home. When his grandmother got word of Danny's situation, she moved here from California to be his guardian, so he wouldn't end up in a foster home. But looking at Danny now, you will see a smiling, laughing young boy with the world ahead of him.
Hopefully I'll be on the news
one day.
To somebody like this.
Everyone needs to stop talking about Quandale Dingle.
If you haven't kept up with the lore of Daniel Larson, I wouldn't recommend watching this video. Instead, we're going to give some brief highlights. We're going to identify some important policy points of Daniel Larson and why he might be getting brushed to the side from the mainstream media. Recently, we have gotten a phone call with a Dave Grohl knockoff having a conversation with Daniel where Sonichu medallions are possessing his mind and making him say some absolutely outlandish and ludicrous things. Now, we can't use that as a base point to evaluate our potential candidate for the presidency.
Enemy napalm strike incoming.
I'm doing okay. My lawyer hasn't been getting back to me at all. I haven't spoken to him since early August. I had to make my own living. I had to try to survive, and it became a survival thing where I was trying to literally stay alive. And my family, my own family, was manipulating financials.
Okay.
While all this was going on, law enforcement got involved and started telling me I was not in contact with Tina. And to block Tina again. See what I'm saying? Grace wants me to travel with her. She goes to London all the time. She goes to Paris.
Securing Alpha.
And there are certain countries, if I have a felony, I cannot go to.
The whole nation at this point is up in arms. Even Daniel's old manager, Clark, is having issues in public. He's getting investigated by the feds. Now, that's an unfair judicial system, if you ask me.
I'm trying to be friends with Clark, but he's flopping on a lot of information.
Yeah, I guess the feds are investigating him too. I wouldn't care if the feds investigate me. They already are, but yeah, I guess he's being scary, but...
RCXD maneuvering. I'm just trying to instigate. That nigga was pissing on me. I was lying. Not you. I heard he was
Oh, but Saturated, you understand. Daniel Larson's a criminal. Yeah, like being a criminal has ever held back anybody with extreme affluence from reaching points that commoners could never such believe in. I want you to know how nice and caring he is whenever he interacts with police when he's getting arrested.
What's your name on you?
It's Daniel Larson.
Daniel Larson.
Okay. Jan Sanders got me for celebrity scholarship.
LDBR incoming.
Or how about him politely waiting as the cops unrightfully search the man and remove his his presidential speech?
Losing B.
That's what I had.
Hostile RCXD in your AO.
Okay.
Operating RCXD.
Now, luckily for you, I have gotten a copy of what that speech actually said.
I'm
over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm just stroking my shit.
But you don't get it, Saturated. He's a crazy person. He's lost his mind. Have you seen the videos of him freaking out on live stream, saying he's gonna do horrible things? What you might call scary and dangerous, and ooh, he's coming after me. I call dedication, commitment, a fight for the people.
Did you all know that
I have friends from Africa?
Now, does this sound like a racist to you?
Enemy watchdog helo inbound.
I'm from Obra. I'm going to take down all three fighters. Tupac isn't off, and he's going to get smoked.
Dig in and hold them.
I, for one, take everything that he says wholeheartedly. There's no way any strings are being twisted and pulled in different directions behind my eyes. Not a chance.
Hello everyone, this is Daniel Larson. I just wanted to say I love BBC.
I've heard a lot of people saying that we should be able to get mental and physical examinations of anybody running for president so that we know for certain exactly if they're capable for the job. I know one thing's for certain. Daniel most certainly has got the physical aspect down. There's nobody else that could even come close to the amount of ultra huge muscular body that Daniel has.
Losing Bravo. We're losing all zones. Enemy UAV inbound.
I feel like I gotta take a bite of that ass out of Trump, if you know what I'm saying.
I wanted it to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger got struck by lightning, just like Albert Einstein.
I have never been able to see a presidential candidate captivate an audience as well as Daniel Larson can.
I never used to be able to come out in crowds like this and be able to talk like this. Not at a professional level. I've always wanted to also run for politics and become president of the United States. So, I'm 23 years old. This is only the beginning of my career.
And let's compare him to one of his rivals.
Sniper working.
Now I want each of you to shout your own name. Do that.
Action. I'll read the words you wrote. Hello, fellow American. This, you should vote me. I leave power. Good. Thank you. Thank you. If you vote me, I'm hot. What? Taxes, they'll be lower. Son, the Democratic vote for me is right thing to do, Philadelphia. So do.
Now, Daniel has been teasing a presidential run for many, many years, and it didn't stop at the end of 2023, coming into 2024.
I am planning on running for president in the future. If you think that that's a good idea, please click the thumbs up, give me a like, give me a follow, and give me a comment.
In the year 2024, I'm going to be starting my presidential campaign.
Initially, he pleaded with Donald Trump to become his vice president, and even gave a recommendation of somebody that he knows very near and dear, who he thought would be a perfect fit for the VP spot.
This message is for Donald J. Trump. I would love to be your vice president in the 2024 elections.
I support Grace VanderWaal for Vice President of the United States.
Unfortunately, we only get a glimmer into this political genius as he releases his one and only presidential campaign advertisement, and it was just swept away from us way too early.
When you're sitting at home all day long, doing nothing, and you feel like the world is crashing in,
losing B,
and you sit there
knocking down
and
Charlie,
just go,
taking Alpha.
what? Did I do that?
I'm on the
Then
objective.
this is a commercial for you.
They were already dead. We just
Adler's
had
lot are on the run. Solid job,
The
Crimson.
people need to stand strong with open hearts. Come together as one, creating peace in this world. And that's how we, the people, will get stuff done. No more mass destruction. Peace. Peace for eternity. Peace for all. This is Daniel Larson for President 2024. Save mankind.
Now you're probably sitting there like, Satri, come on, get to the policies. That's how I make my choice. That's how I become a more informed voter. So get a move on. All right, well, we're going to start off with a great one, a very important one in my opinion, and that's the Olive Garden incident. Now, you might be wondering what's so important about the Olive Garden incident. Well, let me give you a recap of what exactly happened. So Daniel Larson wrongfully was being taken advantage of by the manager at an Olive Garden. She was in the back doing God knows what, communicating with God knows who, and she was making some accusations against this man that just could not stand, not at all.
I have an FBI investigator. I work for the Secret Service. They're investigating as well. We have reason to believe that the documents that the manager was printing off is nude photos of me from a online troll website.
Daniel, within his own citizen rights, says, hey buddies, I'm making a citizen's arrest against you because you were doing some totally uncool things.
I'm performing a citizen's arrest, so the FBI is outside. I have more than enough photos coming in. Okay. Who are you arresting? I'm arresting every single person here.
The Karen manager says, oh, you're on Talk? Oh, that's so cool. And guess what? Daniel Larson has connections in high places. He calls up the mayor of Olive Garden, wherever that is in Italy, and says, fire her. And guess what? You're fired. You're fired.
Call the police and they're going to remove you from here. I know that's what you want. I know that's what you're famous for on Talk, but we are not doing this.
And the CEO of all Olive Gardens, and you're fired. They're working on firing you.
You know what Daniel does? He pulls the fire alarm.
Hostiles have captured the hard point. Hardpoint locked down.
And if you want my honest opinion, I think this is the one good thing that Daniel Larson might have ever done in his entire life. And let me break it down for you. I am totally convinced that Olive Garden is a Greek government psyop to trick Americans into thinking that Italian food is overpriced microwave slop. That you just have to, you want to spend $26 on a chicken parmesan, $28 on a shrimp scampi, you want to spend all that money on that, you want to spend $16 on endless bread and salad. Get out of here. You can go down the street, you could buy a great value box of pasta and a great value bottle of tomato sauce, and you would make something infinitely more better than something at Olive Garden. I am fully convinced that this is a, Neolithic warfare tactic that's being taken on by the Greek government to try and dismantle Italian food supremacy across the world.
I just made 50 cents in the stock market, and I just pulled out a full dollar, and I'm throwing it into credit. The first thing I'm going to do when I become president is rewrite the law. Make the world great again.
Hardpoint identified.
What do you guys think the word invade means?
Threat
neutralized. Shouldn't rubbing alcohol be illegal?
Hostiles have captured the hard point.
In public? If it's got alcohol? So I guess the Denver paramedics brought this to me and gave me a whole bottle of rubbing alcohol so I could get drunk?
You're probably also thinking, there's some scary people out there. How is Daniel going to approach these altercations with these people? Well, he's got that down pat.
Yeah, this message is for
Enemy UAV inbound.
Who's got those smelly balls? Some hairy, smelly balls. Who doesn't smell those balls?
Hardpoint locked down.
You're a bitch. You started this shit. Back down now, Putin.
Hardpoint located.
Or there will be mass devastation.
Well, Saturated, surely it's not all rainbows and sunshines. It's not all perfect all the time. Most certainly not. And Daniel has been known to make some missteps here and there. He is a notorious flip-flopper when it comes to who he is and isn't going to vote for.
I support Elon Musk. I support Donald J. Trump for president in 2024. And in 2024, I
I will be voting for R. Kelly.
And I'm pretty sure he just lost the entire stay-at-home workforce by demanding them to return and turn on their face cams and audio on Zoom. That's just downright despicable.
Rule number 1 is you have to be able to show your face in a Zoom call if we're willing to work with you. When we are on lockdown, we will not respond.
I really hate Jacob Sartorius for cheating on Grace and giving Ellen DeGeneres head.
So that about wraps up the Daniel Larson for President video. In all honesty, this can't be any worse than any of the mainstream media slop that's being thrown out there right before election time. Obviously, it's all a goof and a gag. Oh my God, how unbelievable. Nobody could have ever seen that coming. I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Stop Daniel Larson. Discrimination.
I think we did it. We are so close to winning the election this year. Let's keep up the great work. I think we have it.
Hostiles have captured the hard point. Hard point located. Hard point locked down.
And I will just say that them dropping the Republicans a weird strategy was also a bad idea. But having said all of that, why do I still think Kamala Harris is going to win? Because a lot of people will say, Hassan, you've said this already. You've ripped into Kamala Harris left and right. It's because you hate a woman. You don't want her to succeed. Is that the reason? No. Anyway, one of the final high-quality polls we've seen, Maris's national poll, shows Harris up 51% to 47. Their prior polls for NPR had Harris up 50 to 47 a month ago, and up 49-48 2 months ago. They had a non-NPR poll mid-October with Harris up 52 to 47. Now, this is a national poll. Okay, Maris was off in 2020 like everyone, but it will forever be able to hold on to this moment of glory. Yeah, listen. Of note, Maris shows the national race tied among registered voters, 49-49, so a turnout edge for Harris. Dr. Israel thinks robots are going to solve all our problems. Lamau. Listen, I don't have to agree with every single thing that he says. Okay, calm down. Do you have a creatine brand that you recommend? Not necessarily. I just take the normal one. I don't know. I take it in pill form. Do with that information what you will. Anyway, no world today. Respect the picket line. We are on ULP strike. The New York Times Tech Guild is on strike. The needle is down, folks. The needle is down. The New York Times Tech Guild is on strike. We gave New York Times management months of notice for a strike deadline. We made ourselves available around the clock, and the company decided that our members aren't worth enough to agree to a fair contract and stop committing unfair labor practices. And we talked about the squirrel shit. I briefly covered it yesterday. Anyway, Trump talked about his bi-curiosity. What the fuck is this? Live AI generated. Oh, stop. Stop it. You got to cover John Oliver today. He's a certified Hasanabi head. Don't worry. Yes, chatters have already fucking leaked it. I saw. I used to write you off when you said that there are one or more John Oliver writers in here, but after watching his latest election episode and he played I Will Vote for Donald Trump, I can no longer deny how likely it is. I know, it's just like whack that they haven't revealed themselves or we have not collaborated, you know what I mean? That's what's whack about it. Like, I don't give a shit if there's a Hasanabi head writer in the writer's room or multiple ones, okay? It's just that, like, I would like to link up. Also, this is the fit for the day. Fit of the day. Yoji down to my socks. Are you tuning into the Philadelphia rally today? I mean, it's gonna be boring. We have heard the same shit nonstop from both of these guys, okay? I saw this the other day. I saw this like earlier. I thought this was quite funny. Source, tonight I spoke with a senior Republican strategist known for accurate polling in Iowa who shared private data showing President Trump at a +5 in the state. I trust this source. Now, what I find really funny about this is that +5 in Iowa is bad. That means that Kamala Harris has made gains in Iowa over Donald Trump in comparison to 2020. So an internal poll showing Donald Trump +5 in Iowa is disastrous. people were expecting the Seltzer poll to look like a +5 poll for Donald Trump. So if that's an internal Republican poll, this shit is collapsing, okay? This shit is like completely fucking collapsing. We got Edinger Mentum coming on tomorrow as my khaki Kernaki, obviously. Edinger Mentum is gonna be my khaki Kernaki, and you know, we'll be doing that. I think I'm supposed to be linking up with like CBC, Canadian Broadcasting, linking up with Ryan Grimm, linking up with a bunch of other people that you know, the usual suspects will be around. We'll have some people on today as well, potentially Osita Nwanewu, and that's it. Also, Austin will not be in the building. Austin will not be in the building, even though I thought he would be in the building. He is not in the building. So shouts out to Austin. He just straight up is not coming. He's not showing up. That's what he said. So that's where we're at. He's going to be tuning in from Discord, which is really f***ed up, I think. I told him, like, you have to come. You have to come here in person. And I also told him that out of pure spite, I might not even have him on if he doesn't show up in person, even though he is my, you know, my pollster, my poll guy. So we'll see. The Tinpool treatment, yeah, people are still asking me about OMAD being effective in losing weight. It's like, bro, stop. All right, we're doing poll watch, we're doing hog watch, we're doing it all. This was pretty funny, by the way. Classified leaks by detained Netanyahu aide may have undermined hostage operations. So just wanted to briefly dial in on this really quickly. Just deeply unserious people over there on the Israeli government side. So yeah, that we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, this is it. Election Eve is here. Bro, your blast off hasn't even reached 1K likes. Tell chat to like and retweet. It has. What are you talking about? It already is at 1K likes, and it will keep growing. Is he slandering me? I'm not. I'm just being correct and truthful about your allegiances and how you have dropped us. You have dropped this community. You have dropped the ball, and that's fine. You know, you don't like us anymore. So it is what it is. Kamala Harris secret vote ads.
Come on, boys. Let's make America great. It's your turn, buddy.
Before you cast your vote in this election, think about how it'll impact the people you care about the most.
Daddy!
Remember, you can vote any way you want. Something no one will ever know.
Do your patriotic duty?
You bet I did, brother. What happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls.
My dad, a lifelong Republican, voting for Kamala. That makes sense. Mango preparing to undermine the election if Harris wins. We're going to be talking, yes, about Goldie O'Sullivan's new reporting, obviously, because it's pretty fucking nutty, okay? Now, I am not going to say with 100% accuracy what I know will happen or whatever. I have maintained this position since the swap out happened. Like, if you want to know where I'm at, it's okay to break up with your boyfriend just because he's voting for Trump. Because understandably, that's not going to sit right. Another take as bad as your music reviews. I love when Fantano pops off. My goat. Anyway, so here's the situation. Okay, for those of you who are wondering, like Hassan, let me catch you up, because a lot of you haven't really been following closely. A lot of people are just tuning in because the election is tomorrow, and many people want to know what the fuck is up. Now, something that I've found out is that on my TikTok, the people are fucking crazy. I usually agree with you, but I think she's had a great campaign. She's had a great campaign. This is a TikTok we posted about my like broader analysis on my on what I think is happening with Kamala's campaign and what I think is going to happen come November 5th or maybe November 6th. So originally, when this was a matchup between Joe Biden and Donald Trump pre-debate, I was saying, looking at 2022 performance, looking at the normal white theory, looking at vibes overall, I said that Joe Biden still had a likelihood of winning the election, albeit marginally. Then the debate happened, and everyone recognized that Joe Biden was an old, he was so old that his brain was fucking leaking out of his ear. And then, of course, once everyone else recognized the thing that we have known for years and years and years, then it became impossible. After that, my analysis was it's over. Then Trump got shot. On top of that, I was like, it's done. Even if Trump, especially if Trump hits the unity line, regardless, if he goes up against Joe Biden, he is going to win. And that was an absolute certainty. I gave you my lock. I said Donald Trump was going to win the election against Joe Biden. Okay? Then the RNC happened. Donald Trump did not go the unity route. Donald Trump chose J.D. Vance. That was a massive fucking flub, massive mistake for him. That was a base pick because he was still gearing up for running against Joe Biden, which he thought would be a cakewalk for a W. Okay? It would have been a cakewalk for him if he was going against Joe Biden, which now everyone was, grossed out by, thought he was incredibly fucking old, and thought he was basically on the verge of death and was very frustrated about. They didn't like his policies either. They didn't like the economy, but they also thought, well, he's old. Like, he's clearly incapable of running this country. And then the unthinkable happened. The Democratic Party responded to public pressure. Public pressure and donor pressure aligned in this beautiful moment, and establishment Democrats actually swapped out Joseph Robinette Brandon for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris then picked Tim Walz. Kamala Harris, in that short period of time, basically went from a relatively lesser-known generic Democrat to the person that was running for president. There was no electoral process that took place, which some people were frustrated by, and I totally understand why they were upset by it. But Kamala Harris assumed that role, and in perhaps like a week-long period, Kamala Harris went from a lesser-known generic Democrat who was the vice president that people didn't really think about, people didn't know that well, to a person that had made up 10 points in the opposite direction.
Yo, man, just fall out of a coconut tree.
And it caught back up to Donald Trump. It went from Joe Biden is definitely losing to Donald Trump to, oh my God, Kamala Harris has a pretty good chance of winning. Now, that paired up with the fact that high propensity voters were coming out and had come out already, for Kamala Harris, come out already for Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, and the down ballot races outperforming Joe Biden at the time and even outperforming Kamala Harris at the time by like 6, sometimes 7 points in these key races in swing states, made me understand that there is a lot of momentum and a lot of energy in the Democratic Party's direction. They just need a competent leadership. However, after the DNC, I kept repeating over and over again that the Kamala Harris campaign and the direction that the Democratic Party was taking was basically running towards Joe Biden, who was seen as a old curmudgeon who was basically very unpopular, so unpopular that he had to do something unceremonious. He had to do something unique. He had to drop out of the race and, be swapped out for his vice president. All of that aside, Kamala Harris still had the fundamentals. Okay? She still did. I kept maintaining the position that if she builds upon the momentum, a bold policy agenda, talking and communicating how she's going to be different than the existing administration, that she would have a tremendous time in the polls. She would have a much better standing in the polls, that people would be openly, defending her. Some of the issues was immigration. Another issue was on the economy front. I think that her policies were definitely, there was some good there, but there was a lot that was just lackluster. Okay. And the tacking to the center, tacking to the right, and the consistent hugging and kissing Republicans, okay, all of that, in my opinion, was bad campaigning for the most part, okay? But as I said, time and time again throughout this process, the liberals who would come at me and say, Hassan, what the fuck? You just don't want Kamala Harris to win because of Gaza, blah, blah, blah. I kept repeating, that's not the only issue I have with the campaign, although that is definitely an issue I have with the campaign, that she would still most likely win. Now, the last month or so was a little bit different because I think that Kamala Harris became more prominent in the last month, a lot more media a lot more media opportunities. She put herself out there, and she started pumping hundreds or tens of millions of dollars worth of ads with the campaign messages that they had aligned. And in that process, it seemingly backfired on the Harris camp, and instead, Republicans started gaining more momentum. Republicans started gaining momentum in down ballot races, but more importantly, Donald Trump started gaining momentum. I still, however, maintain the position until this day, and I still maintain this position that Kamala Harris will most likely win the election come tomorrow. And this is not just me looking at the polls, even though, of course, I have looked at the polls this entire time, but also looking at the vibes. I don't just do poll analysis, I do polls plus vibes. Why do I do this? Well, the reason why I do polls plus vibes is because polls alone are not going to be enough, okay? I have, however, learned something that's a little bit scary today, this morning. I've told you guys already, I have like a bunch of people that I talk to, normies in general. You know, I have some high propensity voters, mid propensity voters, and low propensity voters in a place like California, and I look to who they vote for and how they vote as well, because I just want to kind of see like, you know, a focus group basically. And my low propensity voter did vote for Donald Trump, which was shocking. And I don't know if it's because I basically kept asking him over and over again if he was going to go out and vote or not. But my low propensity conspiracy theory guy who loves RFK did actually end up voting. And that kind of shocked me a little bit. That kind of worried me a little bit, because this is fucking California. It doesn't mean California's going to flip, obviously. Chat, this does not mean California's going to flip red. That's fucking idiotic. I'm not making that argument at all. But what it means is, even in a place where someone who is not likely to go out and vote at all, where his vote is not even going to fucking matter at all, he found time out of his day to go out and vote, even though he has never gone out and voted before. That, to me, is a little troublesome.
My camera is dog shit.
Anywhere else in the data, but that still scares me regardless. Okay?
Fucking piss me off.
So, having said that, however, I think that the fundamentals are on Kamala Harris's side still, okay? I think that I have no faith that low propensity voters won't vote for Trump. It's bizarre, but he is rallying the RFK supporters. Well, now that I've talked about the Kamala Harris side of things and what I consider to be like not great campaigning, for example, I think that she focused far too much on trying to win over the white suburban mothers, and you can win them over. No one is saying don't try to win them over, but the way to win them over is supposed to be a delicate balance where you're not hemorrhaging your base of support, because you cannot let the urban pop fall apart. Okay, you cannot let the urban population, black voters, brown voters, young voters in general, voters in college, students and the like, not come out and vote for you because they are just like too bored and too grossed out by or too depressed to go out and vote, because they just constantly hear you hugging and kissing the likes of Liz Cheney, or saying you're going to have a Republican in your cabinet. It's not good, okay? It is not good. She needs white women. I understand that. I'm not against that, but there's a way to do that while simultaneously still communicating objectively popular policies to the low and mid propensity voters on the Democratic Party side, but they haven't done that at all. They've hyper-focused on high propensity voters in general. They're banking on a low turnout election. That's not good. Anyway, having said that, other aspects of the campaign that I took issue with, of course, was the fact that her addressing the economic harm that people were experiencing, even though she was given a massive gift, where voters did not actually hold her responsible for the problems of the Biden administration and its impact on the economy and the inflation and the negative real wage growth that they experienced under Biden for a brief moment. That kind of stuff is unforgettable for a lot of voters, but they actually originally did not say Kamala Harris was responsible for that. Now, that's good. That's a fucking massive gift for Kamala Harris. What did she do with that gift? Not much. The price gouging stuff was great. Fantastic messaging, fantastic policy, fully on board with that, right? But they didn't go forward with that too aggressively. And instead, they kind of back-pocketed that. And I personally consider that a flub, okay? I was expecting a 2008 Obama-style run, but instead, we basically got a 2012 Obama run. And that's not good. Or worse, dare I say, a 2020 Joe Biden run. Actually worse than that, because it was more conservative than 2020. Anyway, so there's some good policies there, like combating price gouging, fantastic, okay? Good defenses there. Saying that Donald Trump's tariffs, which is the only economic policy that he's put forward, is actually a mass sales tax. Fantastic. Expert. 10 chef's kisses, okay? 5 boons on that. Those are both great, okay? Expanding Medicaid to at-home care. Fantastic. It's not enough. It's actually very marginal, and it's very frustrating that that's the only thing that the Democrats are pushing for. You should at least expand it down to 55. Like, you should lower the age. You should lower the age eligibility for Medicare to 55. That is literally the entry. That is like that's stepping in. Dental and vision as well. That's also important. They didn't really push that too much, but they realized that was actually popular messaging, so that definitely helped out. So on that front, that's great. Obviously, no separation from Biden on Gaza is a massive flub. That was a huge gimme. Donald Trump was beating Biden by like 30 points on the issue of Israel-Palestine. Donald Trump is now beating Kamala by the same percentage points on Israel-Palestine, and that's not a good idea. Overall, immigration, right-wing communication on immigration is not a good idea either, but that's a much larger, much more consequential conversation that we're not going to have right now. And I will just say that them dropping the Republicans are weird strategy was also a bad idea. But having said all of that, why do I still think Kamala Harris is going to win? Because a lot of people will say, Hassan, you've said this already. You've ripped into Kamala Harris left and right. It's because you hate a black woman. You don't want her to succeed. Is that the reason? No. These are very real considerations. These are very real criticisms that I think are perfectly fucking valid. I have time and time again showcased evidence, empirical evidence, messaging polls and whatnot to prove to you that what I'm saying is correct. And you can also go and watch those older videos as well. Okay? Now, I will, however, turn around and explain something very important to you. Okay? The person that was running an even worse campaign with also worse metrics overall, with a worse ceiling overall, was Donald Trump. Okay? That's it. While Kamala Harris made, in my opinion, a lot of communication mistakes, none were as bad as the routine garbanzo that you saw from Donald Trump throughout this entire process. Donald Trump's negatives are that he's too narcissistic and too chaotic and says a whole bunch of unhinged things. So much so that people who are in support of Donald Trump's ideology and ideals sometimes find themselves at odds with Donald Trump. Not to the same degree as like the MSNBC Never Trump Republicans, but certainly enough that they're like, I don't know if I'm going to go out and vote. Or in the finite amount of time that you have to make a convincing argument to not only have people be your supporters, but also go out and vote for you, Donald Trump fucked up big time. Nonstop, as a matter of fact. He had strong issues where he could have talked specifically about the economy, but there was no good policy on that front. He just kept saying, remember how good things were when I was president.
Secure the objective.
Trying to, hold on to the nostalgia factor and the reality that Americans have short-term memory. Okay? He just kept saying, remember how good shit was when I was president. But even then, he didn't even hit that point hard enough because he was entirely too predisposed with the anti-immigrant screeds. His economic policy was tariffs, which is a really stupid idea that absolutely zero people agree with, especially because Donald Trump never communicated what he was going to put tariffs on. He just said across the board on all goods, specifically coming from China, which again is idiotic because it would destroy his #1 industry of his supporters, Trump merchandise, right? That was a huge issue. And also, like I said, Kamala Harris's campaign did good counter messaging on that issue, so they are capable of doing that when they want to do it by effectively showing everyone that tariffs are just a mass sales tax and that China's not fucking paying for it. It's actually American companies that are purchasing the Chinese manufactured goods that are paying for the tariff, and that cost will be offset, that will transfer over to the consumers. Okay, so that was a massive mistake. Another indication that Trump's campaign has lost the juice and the sauce, and also its capability of reading the room, or rather maybe reading the wrong room a little too much, was the anti-trans ads. Now, I've talked to people who work for campaigns, okay? I talk to them all the time, off the record, off camera, and there are people who would shock you that also agreed that the Trump campaign, the anti-trans campaign, was actually a banger. I was shocked personally when I heard that, okay, from people. I was like, what? Are you serious? And I had to sit there and explain to them why this is not a banger at all. A lot of people in the DC bubble are lost in the sauce a little bit, okay? They're lost in the sauce a little bit, and it is a sober reminder for me that those people are also on Twitter, okay? Yeah, the Beltway demons are also on Twitter all the fucking time, and their understanding of the world is also motivated by things that they see online, okay? Oh, you're straight up wrong. Anti-trans rhetoric plays great to the base, and they're winning more and more anti-trans legislation every year, man. Yeah, that's right. It's so popular that they always have to package anti-trans legislation that literally fails usually if they try to actually do it through a democratic process, like the North Carolina trans bathroom bill. They had to go back to the drawing board and figure out a way to tie it to something that people do care about, which is sports. A meritocratic approach to sports is something that Americans still believe, and that's the only one that has actually penetrated public consciousness in a country where 64% of the population still say trans people are disproportionately targeted, and it's unfair. People might be transphobic themselves. We heard the Trump supporter that Owen Jones was talking to look at the situation and basically say, I don't want my child to be trans. And then Owen Jones was like, okay, what if your child was like friends with a trans person? And the guy said, yeah, I wouldn't stop them. I'm not transphobic. There's a reason why even Jake Paul, who is incredibly transphobic, still feels the need to say that he does not hate anyone, including trans people, because at the end of the day, everyone's a fucking liberal in this goddamn country, and that's something that you need to remember. Okay. What this means is that while most people think trans people are weird, most people are definitely slanted towards transphobia, given how rigid the gender binaries are in the way that it's been taught and how deeply personal our gender is in the way that we understand it, even though it's outdated, okay? Even though it is completely outdated, people still do not vote for anti-trans legislation. So if you have a finite amount of time to make a convincing argument, if you need to get people to come out and fucking vote for you in the polls, you cannot run on an anti-trans panic narrative, okay? You can't. You just simply cannot do that. And there is already a fantastic example, fantastic proof for this not working, and that is the 2022 midterms. People think it's weird to constantly and consistently shit on trans people. When it comes down to the election, most people are like, I just want food on my table, man. I care about the kitchen table shit, okay? And trans issues are not kitchen table shit. This is something that I have consistently talked about and consistently defended. Okay? That is a big mistake for the Trump campaign. The constant hyper focus, hyper fixation comes across as weird to the normal whites. Okay? It does. It comes across as weird unless you're hyper online and you watch Matt Walsh and you mainline the anti-trans stuff and you're participating in like the fucking firebombing campaigns of like sending bomb threats to the Children's Hospital or whatever, which is a tiny, minuscule percentage of the Republican base. Most of the rest of the Republican Party are not that motivated. And all of the anti-trans legislation that has passed in this country has passed in the state legislature. That's it. And state legislatures are inherently undemocratic because of the way that redistricting works, because of the way that districts are drawn. That's it. That's it. You can tell me all day, every day. You can tell me all day, every day that transphobia and trans panic is a fucking really resilient, really good message, really good narrative. It's not. There is no evidence to suggest this. There is actually only evidence to show, to prove that it has been an outward, unsuccessful way to campaign. That's it. A lot of people, even in the Republican base of support, view the anti-trans weirdos in the same exact way that they view the anti-abortion weirdos. You start looking like the type of dude who's really sweaty and really gross, parked outside of a fucking Planned Parenthood, yelling at a 14-year-old trying to get fucking birth control. Normal whites in the suburbs do not like that. They don't want to be associated with that. They find it weird. They might be transphobic themselves, but they still find it weird. This goes back to my theory of permissible bigotry. Very important theory. I know there's a lot of normies in here right now. They've probably never heard me talk about this shit, okay? Republicans had during the 2020 election is that, well, the Democrats were winning. Okay? It's a lot harder to stop the actual normal process when the votes are still being counted. I don't know if they'll stop. I don't know if that is going to stop the Republicans from trying to stop this process this time around. Actually, you know what? Let's do a deeper dive into this.
Every 4 years, Americans across this great nation put our differences aside to join hands and collectively lose our spring minds over the presidential election.
Turn out for what?
They're eating the dogs. Now, we've seen some pretty crazy stuff in recent years. But if you're thinking 2020 was the most hog-wild election in modern history, you have absolutely got to hear about what went down in the year 2000. Because if you're some kind of Rizless, Gen Z, damn-Danieling sheesh lord, you may be surprised to hear that in the year 2000, there was a literal and verifiable stolen presidential election. And even if you're over the age of 30 and maybe remember hearing something about hanging chads and Florida recounts, the details are certifiably insane. And if nothing else, it's good to just remind ourselves of the fragility of elections in the United States and why your vote, yes, I'm top.
Hardpoint identified.